And welcome everyone to the Cassandra workshop series.
It's the grand finale where we bring our application to the cloud.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good scanning through stuff to make sure we didn't miss anything.
And leaderboard changes a little bit, but all the leaders answered correct.
What about the leaderboard?
Who was the fastest now? Who gets the first place? There should be no big changes, definitely.
These are really nice actually for training materials like what we're doing right now. They're also really nice to share.
So now I'm going to the UI, getting started with UI. I will do the npm install.
As a beginner, I would say this was very useful to understand the feature of Cassandra.
I'm really thankful to the organizing team.
The 8-week journey was wonderful and each week was equally exciting.
Hello everyone. Hi Cedric.
Hello Alex.
Yeah,
how are you?
I'm very good and happy finally to be live after these winter vacations. Let's say.
Yes, Happy New Year
Happy
everyone.
Year.
This is our first for me and Alex for this year. Happy to be back to work. It will be a huge year with a lot of workshop every week as usual, and we will try to cover some topics we did not cover last year with the 73 workshops. So in the end, we will do a quick survey. Give us the subject you would like to see this year.
Yep.
Okay.
And most importantly, if you can see us, if you can hear us, please let us know and set the thumbs up in the YouTube chat or Discord chat so we will know we are live and you can hear us.
Please. And add your mark, Alex.
Sorry?
Now, waiting for acknowledgement. I cannot see.
Okay. I will. Let me check. Yeah, everything is fine. We can hear Happy New Year. Yeah, so we are good to go.
Okay, let's go. So this week is the first of the 3-week series. So it's 3 standalone episodes, and you have to register to every single episode to get all the notification. We could have a series, but we wanted people to be able to register to only one episode if they want to. So we will start by implementing create, read, update, delete operation on top of Cassandra, introducing quickly what is Cassandra. Then next week, we will ship an application in Kubernetes. Remember, this is a cloud native series. And week 3, we will use everything we did on the 2 previous weeks and put that in the cloud on GKE, and we will explain cloud things. In between, there will be homework. You don't have to do the homework, it's not mandatory, but it's pretty cool. It's just a couple of readings, blog posts, and also some hands-on. It's not really full courses.
Yep.
Okay?
Just one thing to clarify, GKE is a Google Kubernetes engine.
Yes, my bad. If I use acronyms...
Yeah, it will do.
Okay, so housekeeping. So if this is the first time you attend our workshop, we are live on YouTube and Twitch. You can ask questions on the YouTube chat, but YouTube chat will die at the end of the stream. So you can also ask your question on Discord. This is the link, bit.ly/Cassandra workshop. And we will be there 24/7 to answer your question. And it's also easier to troubleshoot because you can have one-on-one discussion with people helping us. You don't have to install anything either today or any workshop. We will have you covered, we will give you an ID, we will give you a database, and for the database, we are using Cassandra managed as a service in the cloud, and it's called Astra. And we like this workshop to be interactive, so we will ask you questions live using a tool called Menti. And so you will open a new tab either on your laptop or use an app Menti on your phone, enter the code I gave you, and I will ask you a couple of questions. So let's start right away with the Menti. So just the disclaimer is it's a coding session, so we won't go deep dive into Cassandra. There are a lot of videos on the channel to go deep dive. We will give you just enough for you to start and actually coding. Okay, this is a developer session. Not too much theory, but really hands-on. And after that, you have all the time you need to go to academy.datasci.com, take all the free courses, go deep dive, and brave yourself for certification. Okay, so hands-on exercise materials are all in GitHub. This is the link. The link is also in the YouTube description. As usual, everything is on GitHub. So it is the slide, the exercise, and the instruction step by step. So if you have a question you just stuck, please make sure you look at this README and see, probably just copy paste and really step by step. I hope we did well. Okay, speaking of Menti, I expect this Menti slide a couple of slides before. So now go to menti.com, open a new tab, menti.com, and use this code. So this is what I will do. I will go to menti.com and I will wait for you, okay? So now I will give you a couple of, just a minute or two, just to be ready. So Menti, in the first 10 minutes, we will simply ask you a question, just to assess what level are you. Are you mostly developer, backend, stuff like that? No contest, no competition. But at the end of the workshop, in the very end, the last 50 minutes, we will go back to Menti, and then we will have a quiz. And the fastest you answer, the more points you get. And the 3 winners will get some swag, t-shirts, swag box, glasses, and we ship everywhere on the world. Okay.
Important notice: the easiest way to use Menti is just open it on your mobile phone, menti.com, and enter the code Cedric gave you, 6467578. That's it. And YouTube stream has a little lag, a little delay. So when in the first part, it's not important. But when we have the quiz, when we have competition, when you better answer fast. In this case, you better watch your phone over than YouTube stream, because there will be a little delay. And I want you to win.
Exactly. We want all you to win. So I do have about 30 people on the Menti. How many viewers do we have on YouTube?
80.
Okay, so let's wait for the quorum, half of people, 27. But, in the beginning, let's go quick. It's simply open questions. Okay, so question number 1 is, which role describe you the best? Student, backend, frontend? Okay, that's pretty well distributed.
Yep.
Okay, backend developer, very good, because today we will create some create, read, update, delete operation on top of Cassandra using Python and Node. Okay, we had to limit the number of language. We do have the same content for Java on others workshop if you want to. Okay, front end. So we have the Node.js stuff, and operator. Yeah, today it will be managed services, but yeah, next week it will be all in Kubernetes. Okay, the way to orchestrate Docker containers. Okay, well, 61 people on the Menti, pretty good. Okay, which programming language are you familiar with? I think you can pick multiple. Okay, Python. You know what? I think I picked the proper languages. With Python and JavaScript, we have you covered. And, for those who are doing Java, thank you.
But notice we still have 8 people already with none of those. If your language is not in the list, please write it to a chat in Discord or YouTube so we will know what we are missing.
And we won't ask you to actually code the class. We want you to see the code, to execute the code, to set up the code, but nothing to install and really no tricky question to code. All right, 65 people, pretty good. Okay, moving to next question. Have you attended one of our 74? Because we did one yesterday, workshop. No. Okay, so for the newcomer, I hope you will like the experience. We are doing that twice a week, once at 12 a.m. EDT for LATAM region, and this one on Thursday, 12:30 IST for people living mostly on EMEA and APAC region. And as you can see, it's interactive. It should be interactive. So if you have questions, don't stop yourself. Ask on the YouTube chat and Discord. All right, I think I do have my 65 people answer. Okay, so thank you very much. Keep the Menti open somewhere. I told you in the end we will come back to the Menti and ask you question competition and make you win some swag. Okay, back to slide. And so we will make you create some function on top of Cassandra, but first, some people may not know what is Cassandra, especially because most of you are new. So Alex, can you explain us, in a couple of minutes what is Cassandra?
In a couple of minutes, it's ain't going to be easy.
15 minutes.
Yes, sure. I will try to be really quick. Yes, so I think we are good to go. So, Cassandra is one of the most interesting, promising, and powerful databases in the world, and there is no joke, that's one of the top databases used by biggest companies over the world, handling dozens petabytes of data. If you are running a tiny website or, I don't know, tiny e-commerce shop, it may be not your favorite choice because it's ain't the easiest way to run the database, except of Astra, which makes things much easier. But if you are ready to work with big data, if you require full uptime, if you require a lot of performance, then Cassandra definitely can be your choice. So how it works and what is it in front? Cassandra is a NoSQL distributed decentralized database, and every word in this phrase is extremely important. You can run Cassandra on a single node, like people usually do with a lot of databases, but that's not the purpose, that's not the main point where you can get all the benefits of a Cassandra. Because Cassandra is born is distributed and decentralized. So you always in production run it as a cluster. How big can be the cluster? Well, it very depends on your need because Cassandra scales linearly, and more you need, you just add more nodes and you have better performance and higher volume and higher capacity. So, what does that mean, distributed and decentralized? You run it over multiple nodes and there is no, like we used to speak, master nodes and slaves node, and like we speak now, primary or secondary nodes. Every node has the same duties. So that's a masterless node, decentralized one. Every node communicates with every node, so we are gossiping, and data is replicated. So everything you handle within the data center, or we call it a ring, but those are synonyms, let's say in this case. Data is replicated over multiple nodes. Having you give different replication factor to sets of data you have, your data will be multiplied over the cluster a few times based on your replication factor, and therefore you can afford losing a node, or in some cases 2 nodes, or in some cases even a whole data center, and still get your data. So the whole data center is on fire, but you have second data center and your data is available. And that's an active data centers, and so that's a very powerful database regarding the capacity. and high availability. So data is distributed. And for every table, we need to have a partition column, partition key, which allows your data to be spread over multiple servers. People ask, why do I need that? Why should I spread a single table over multiple computers? With MySQL, with PostgreSQL, I don't do that. And that's partially correct, but partially wrong. You don't do it as long as your data fits into a single server. But as soon as you have too much data for the database, you start to do sharding. If you never used sharding before, you are happiest person, because sharding is painful and that's a pretty complicated process. Yeah, I do confirm from my side completely. So Cassandra is built to be big data ready, and there are no problems handling any amounts of data. Biggest Cassandra distribution known for years was Apple. You know, this company with iPhones and MacBooks? They're using Cassandra very heavily. Moreover, they are developing it as crazy, and they gave so much efforts to release version 4. That's incredible. That's the only product I know which Apple invests so hard to have it running, because for a simple reason, last year we reported they have more than 160,000 servers, Cassandra servers, handling dozens petabytes of data. So
160.
Yeah, that's serious. And moreover, we thought what Apple is the biggest Cassandra user, like close to Netflix and Instagram. This year we found out what Chinese companies like Huawei, for example, even a bigger user, and that's not easy to be bigger than Apple, let's say. So again, why data is distributed, why data is partitioned, how we call it, because we know what at some point your data will be too big to fit to a single machine, and we partition data based on the partition columns to have it spread over the world, to have it spread over the servers. And servers, where are the servers? Basically everywhere. You can have within the same cluster multiple data centers or multiple rings, and then they can be everywhere from the geographic distribution point of view. So keep your data close to your clients. If you have clients in Asia, if you have clients in the United States, in Europe, it will be not nice for them, for Australian or European people, to work with a database located in the United States, because obviously, even if your application is lightningly fast, but your database is far away from your clients, it still will be slow for them. So our idea, keep your data close to your clients, as close as possible. And that's about geographic distribution. With Cassandra, you can have multiple active data centers over the world. And then we don't speak only about geographic distribution, but we speak about hybrid cloud and multi-cloud. So you can have a Cassandra cluster running over Microsoft Azure, AWS, Google Compute Platform, and your own on-premises data center at the same time, handling the same data. So you don't depend on the vendors, you don't have vendor lock-in, and you don't stick to one particular cloud provider. You can have all of them at once, or only a part, or you can migrate, and that's what I call freedom. And then to finalize that, understanding use cases. So take a look. I said it in the beginning, and I will repeat that. There is no silver bullet, and there is no one size fits all. You have to pick proper database for your particular use case. But if your use case fits the Cassandra situation, then you may be watching exactly this database, because, well, let's speak about the use cases. Scalability. Everything what relates to scalability and changing workloads from very low to very high. Cassandra has elastic linear scalability. You need more, you throw more nodes, you have higher performance and capacity, and it works really seamlessly. Not so many databases can be proud of the features like that. High output, high volume. Everything what relates to high performance or high capacity, it's also about Cassandra. Also, we speak of heavy writes, heavy reads. any kind of intensive operations, when you have dozens, thousands of writes per second, that's a perfect fit for Cassandra. Just scale out. And there are many different options. Event streaming, good case. Internet of Things, good case. Logs, good case. Any over time series, Cassandra is very well optimized for the time series data. Then availability, and when I say availability, I mean high availability, of course. Everything what relates to mission critical, everything when you want your data to be available all the time with no downtimes. That's exactly about Cassandra. No data loss and always on. And there are very many options where you want to have this feature available and your database available all the time. Distributed database, global presence, data centers everywhere, or workload mobility, ability to move your data and change your location is also perfectly fine. You may need some compliance or GDPR limitations. It's like me and Cedric, we are located in Europe and we know something about GDPR.
Yes.
There are pretty often requirements to store your data in particular country, for example. Well then, with Cassandra you can do it. You can specify key spaces to be in some particular data center, not spreading all your data over all your data centers. You always can decide where you want it to be. And we speak about a lot of different things regarding that. Banking data, tracking data, retail, customer experience, and many others. And finally, cloud native, modern cloud applications, API layers, enterprise data layer, hybrid cloud, multi-cloud, and no vendor lock-in. You can migrate over clouds. That's also all of your possibilities. Now, if you are novice in Cassandra, this workshop ain't going to be easy to you, because we are like it's like drinking from a fire hose, because we are giving a lot. But don't worry, you will be fine. We are here to answer your questions, and even then this workshop is done, we have first our Discord server at bit.ly/Cassandra workshop.
Yes, I gave link in the beginning. Yeah. And also the session is recorded. Okay, you can go back. It will be exactly the same link.
Exactly. And for more advanced questions, we are always happy to see them at the community.datastacks.com. It's like Stack Overflow, but dedicated to Cassandra, Astra, and DataStax Enterprise. I'm done. So, was it 10 minutes?
I think more or less. And you know what? Good job. And we are there for 24 minutes. It's time to get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
So if you give me back
you are live. You are live. Yep.
All right. Okay. So Alex explained you all about Cassandra, and today you won't install Cassandra. We have you covered. We will use Cassandra in the cloud with the product name Astra. And so what you will do at exercise 0 is simply go to this website, create your instance, and we will be good to go. And Astra is a platform where Cassandra in between, you can create these multiple node, multiple data center, multiple cluster, as Alex showed you. But today it's just a workshop live, so we will work with the single node, I guess. And Astra is not only Cassandra, you do have tools, developer tools and operation tools on top of it. So developer tools, they are not only the way to interact with Cassandra with CQL, Cassandra Query Language, but other tools like DataStax Studio, which is a notebook-oriented, like Jupyter Notebook. It's the same. DataStax Studio is the same, and there are some API on top of Astra. If you're a front-end developer, you like to work with API. So Astra provides REST API, GraphQL API on top of Cassandra. Today we will stick with the Cassandra Query Language, so no API. We want you to get in touch with Cassandra. But we will see in the demo that it's also easy to use the API. Also, Astra works very well with automation. Okay, we have DevOps API. I remember the ops guy. So DevOps API metrics authentication, and it's a bit advanced, but we will come to that probably week 3. So the platform is running in Kubernetes, and if you are already using Kubernetes, we provide a service broker. So now in your Kubernetes configuration, you can ask Astra to start Cassandra nodes for you. Okay, we do have what we call a service broker in the Kubernetes world. Okay, enough talking. Time for you to create your Astra instance. So all the links are in the description of the video, but the first link I want you to go is dtsx.io/workshop. It's a short URL to go to Astra with the proper settings. And I think either Jack or Eric will copy-paste this link on both chat.
Just one little notice. I'm not sure. Well, definitely, I would like to repeat. So we were speaking about Cassandra, and now we speak about Astra. So when people may be curious, what's the Astra? I want to repeat it one more time if you missed that.
Sure.
Astra is a managed Cassandra. We use it always for our workshops because it's easier for you to run the clusters, and you don't have to install things. You just go and start to use Cassandra. But please. And
of course, no credit card, nothing. You do have a free tier and free forever. So if you start a DB today, it will stay there.
Yep. So that's Astra is a managed Cassandra. Everything what we do today in this workshop, you can do with Apache open source Cassandra. You can do with DataStax Astra as well.
Yep. Yes. So how to do that? How to create an Astra instance? How to do everything? Well, I told you everything is on GitHub. So if you go to github.com/datastacksacademy/workshop CRUD with Python and Node, again, link is below, you will see that you do have everything. So not only the code, but the slides. And here you do have a table of content. And first step we are doing is set up the database. So first, let's create an Astra instance. I will do that with you because I don't have one, and I will execute exactly the same. So I will sign up with GitHub, and I want to build a new app. Why not? This is what we do, right? Okay, I don't have any database yet, so he proposed me multiple ways to create one. Please select the first one, free, okay? And in free, do not pick beta, okay? The serverless. We don't want to use the serverless today. We don't want to scale on demand. Let's stick to free, okay? I select a cloud provider. As you can see, Astra is available in all the 3 main cloud, and on the free tier, you would like to pick Google Cloud, and then you select a region, the closest to you. Alex told you we are located in Europe. I will pick Europe. Okay, and then I will go to configure database. Okay, now I need to provide fields, and I told you everything is on GitHub. So I log in, and step 1B, I will add a database. Okay, choose the free plan. I did that already. 1C, configure and create your database. So database name, my Astra cluster. It's not mandatory to use exactly this, but later when we will do exercise, those are the keys that are set up by default. You can change that, but if for some reason you don't remember your username or password, that's better to use what we provide. So key space is like a schema. You can have multiple key spaces inside a Cassandra database. Username is suser, and password password1, because you need to provide uppercase, lowercase, and numbers in your password, and I think it needs to be 8 character long. And I will create my database. Okay, let's save. So it will take a couple of minutes for the database to be ready. And so the status is pending. Okay. And if you look at GitHub, you see that it's pending. And when it's switched to active, I am ready to go. I do have two open. I will close one. Okay, and so my database pending. I will refresh. It will be there soon. Okay. So you, if you follow with me, I may go too fast. Oh, now it's active. See, I may go too fast. Don't worry, the session is recorded, and you can go at your pace, watching the recording. Everything available for you for free there. But you know, if you can follow with me, that's also cool. Okay. So during the time is initialized for you, let's discuss a little bit about the use case we will implement today. So we'll go back to slide, but not really not really to teach you anything, but just explaining you the use case. So what we will do today is implement the data for this UI. The UI is not there. We will have a spacecraft, okay, that will take off, travel in space. Every second we will log speed, pressure, location, and temperature. You know, this is what we call a time series because we record values over time. So in the exercise, don't be surprised, the exercise will be connect to the database, create the table we need, and then take off. That means we will insert a line in the takeoff table. Then, you know, travel, we will insert multiple lines in those tables, and we will end with landing, and we'll see what are the tables. So how do we design table in Cassandra? We do have a full courses, 12 hours on this channel. The only thing you need to remember, it is not like relational database, okay? Don't be afraid, but in Cassandra, no foreign key, no joins, no transaction, okay? You store together what you want to retrieve together, and the data is denormalized, okay? There is no one table, one to end with another. No, it does not work like that. And also last, if you need to access the same data with two different queries, you probably need two tables. Oh, whoa. That seems probably weird in the beginning, but I prefer to tell you that up front and avoid any question like, why do I put any foreign key or anything? So let's see what it looks like with our business model, and probably your database is initializing at the same time. Okay, so you can still track only with audio if you're working on Astra. So to start a data model on Cassandra, you need two things. You need not only the conceptual data model, entities, as you will do with relational, but you also need application workflow, which are the queries you need on your database. From those two, you will apply some rules, workflow, and you will get the final data model. So won't go too much into the detail. I want you to practice more than teach you here deep dive. But hey, this is what it looked like for us. So the conceptual data model, we do have a journey with attribute, summary, active spacecraft, and UID. And for the journey, we do have multiple read speed, reading temperature, pressure, and location. And each of those are the time, the value, the unit, and everything. So look at that and you say, oh yeah, that's a foreign key, right? No, there is no joins or foreign key in Cassandra. So how do we do that? Well, you will list the queries you need. So there are queries for catalog. So look up for all the journeys, search all journeys, search a journey by its ID, create a journey. Those are the three requests we need. And when it comes to the sensor evolution of the spacecraft over time, you will need save readings and see each dimension independently, and you would like to analyze data per journey.
Cedric, I wanted to add a word here. As people start to use Cassandra, they see Cassandra query language, which looks very similar to structured query language. Most of you know already. And after that, they always like, oh, CQL looks so familiar. I can use that. I'm ready to use Cassandra. And the problem is, no, you don't, because it's different. Yes, language looks similar, but it's not the same. And well, my recommendation, if you really want to put your hands on this powerful technology, we do recommend you to visit one of our Cassandra fully dedicated workshops we did before and we will do in the future, like data modeling with Cassandra, because efficient data model is the key to success of your application. And if your data model is bad, your application can't be efficient. So yeah, take a look at one of our workshops last year, or subscribe to our workshops we will do later this year, and that's definitely worth it. Thank you, Cedric.
Yes. Oh, yes. Because now this is just the application workflow and entities, and I will start showing you what the table look like. And again, it might not look familiar at the first look, but it's quite easy to follow the mapping rules. The keys is do not think like it was relational. Okay, so I do have multiple queries, spacecraft, temperature, speed. So I do have multiple tables. Okay, for those, we all agree that we don't want to store temperature and speed in the same table. Okay, and so in each, we will define what we call a partition key. Okay, what do we want to group together? The partition. Remember the schema, the slide Alex showed you in the beginning? The data from the same table is distributed in multiple nodes. Well, this first K is called partition key, and it will be hashed, and this is what will code on which node is the data. But you don't have to know where it is. It's all internal of Cassandra. But simply put, K, it's not only to ensure unicity of the record. This is just a way to group your data. And why do we do that? Well, if we want to have all the info regarding a journey based on the spacecraft, and the spacecraft can have multiple journeys, right? So I will group all the journeys from the same spacecraft in a partition. Okay. In a Cassandra table, you still have a primary key, and the primary key is there to ensure unicity. Partition key only is not enough to ensure unicity. I mean, you can put a UUID as a partition key and you're good to go. You will have single row partition. It's possible, it's not a wrong practice. But as you tend to group together, most of the time the partition is not single line. So you need to add columns to ensure unicity. And those columns are called clustering columns. They are not only for unicity. This is only the column you could use to filter and sort the search result. So if you want to search by journey ID, the journey ID should be somewhere in the primary key. Okay, no more. We told you twice there is a full dedicated courses. And so once we do have the tables and the attribute, we add some physical types. And so you see that there are some types that totally look like relational SQL, and some that are dedicated to Cassandra, which is pretty cool. So text is kind of a varchar. Time UUID is a unique identifier embedded a timestamp. Pretty cool, ensuring both unicity and be able to sort over time. Start and end are timestamp. They could have been date. Active is a Boolean. Summary is a text. And Here you can also see some double, pretty cool. Inside a column, you can have also list, map, set, or even an object. Okay, that's totally different from what you do with relational. It's more NoSQL way. Okay, so this is one table, and we will use Cassandra query language to interact with this table. This is what you will do in a couple of minutes now. Okay, so table 1, table 2, table 3, and in the table 3, location over time, I have text, UID, and the location. Oh, the location is X, Y, and Z, location in space. And so instead of having X, Y, and Z as attributes, I could, nothing wrong with that. But I can group those in what we call a user-defined type, UDT. And now you can have the structure. So you now understand that in Cassandra, even if it's table, you can still insert structured objects, but there is a schema. You know, look at this UDT. This is exactly the field you need. So it's not schemaless on Cassandra only. Okay, so that was introducing you the business domain during Astra initialization. Now let's create the schema in your table. Okay, so I'm going back to the GitHub, and what you did with me is view your database, connect, and what we want to do now is 1D, click on the connect. So here is my database. Now it's just refresh, you know, sometimes just to be sure. Bad practice maybe. Okay, I will connect. Okay, so in the database now there are multiple screens. You can see the summary. See, it's a 5 GB free capacity. Here you do have a cluster ID. This is a database username. You cannot see your password, but if you forget your password, you can go to your profile and reset your password. But if you enter the values we provided you, you should be okay. So then there is CQL console, Cassandra Query Language Console. And this is a CLI, command line interface, where you can enter some Cassandra query language. Okay, so one, for instance, is describe key spaces with an S. And you can see that by default, there are multiple systems key spaces. But today, we will work with the spacecraft key space, the one we enter. So if you look at the exercise, what they want you to do is use key space, just to tell to the database, now use this key space. See that the prompt has changed. Now I do have the key space name in the prompt. And any command I will enter will be applied to the spacecraft key space. And I will, you know what, the most important skill for a developer, Alex? Copy paste. Alex is all in answering your question right now.
Yeah, sorry, I am focused on the questions.
No problem, you know. This is why we are two heads moving on screen, right? One talking, one answering the question. Okay, so as you can see, all the commands have been applied one after the other. And now there is a command called describe tables. And so I will use these describe tables. And see, all our 5 tables have been created, okay? And if I want to describe one table, not sure it is written in the samples, describe table, let's see, this guy. Now see, we do have the Cassandra query language statement to create this table. And you can find the primary key with the 2 parts, you know, the one to group, what we call partition key, and the other parts, which are the clustering column to filter and sort and enjoy unicity. All right, keep moving, and maybe time to start coding. No? What do you think? It's a hands-on and it's a coding session. Okay. So if I look at the README, the very bottom, it will ask you to open Gitpod in a new tab. So this is what I did just a couple of seconds ago, and why you see a new tab open. I simply right-click and open in Gitpod, and this guy just is actually opening. So Gitpod is free IDE available in the cloud. So it's very close to VS Code. It's based on Eclipse THEA. You simply need a GitHub account to log in the first time. And so look at that. It has opened me the same repository I am using in GitHub. But now I do have a terminal, and I do have full support of language, Node, Python, Java, I mean Maven. I could have Maven if you're a Java developer. So many languages are ready to go out of the box. Okay, I do have a terminal over here. This is my README that I'm going through with you. So I could have started by opening Gitpod and follow everything in there. That's pretty neat. In the same tools, you do have everything. And of course, you do have access to the code, either a node on Python. I will probably use Python this morning. And you can go open a file and you can start coding. Pretty cool, right? And there are all the VS Code extension available for you. Okay, most of them. All right, so I have opened Gitpod, and now I'm ready. Okay, now I'm ready to go and start doing the exercise. There are 6 exercises total, and I can do the exercise with Node and Python. So you simply click the link you want to work with. Okay. So maybe just to avoid to switch from black to white, and you will need some sunglasses in a couple of minutes to follow the workshop. So I will go and say, okay, now I decide to use JavaScript. So I will open JavaScript in Gitpod, okay? Because why not? And as you can see, you can open a README as a preview. Okay. But you can also work in a different tab as you wish. This is really what you prefer.
Again, you can do the same exercises on at your laptop with your own favorite IDE. We
Sure.
just don't want to make you install anything. And Gitpod is actually pretty good. In general, to be honest, I'm a little bit not a bit fan of online IDEs, but this one works pretty nice.
True. True. So if you want to work locally, you are on your own, you will have to install, Node.js and do the npm install when you start. And if you are working with Python, you should have Python install. Okay. Okay, so I will do,
Cedric,
Alex?
there is a question in YouTube chat. Someone can't paste what I copy in the SQL console. Do we know anything about this issue?
That's strange because, so what is the issue? Copy or paste?
Copy, paste into the SQL console.
Because I was able here to copy.
Right click and paste. Yeah, that's what I remember.
Yes.
Pratik, thank you. You are right. Right click
Yes.
and paste. It will work.
Yes, paste over here. But
Yep.
I did Control-C, Control-V, and it worked on my machine. So
Okay.
I'm probably lucky as well, but yeah, you could do that. Okay, so I'm in Gitpod and I'm following the README about Node.js. Okay, so to connect your app to Cassandra, you will have to provide some settings like the username, the password, the database name, yada. And also to ensure a secure communication between you and Cassandra and Astra, we will give you a zip file. And zip file is what we call Cloud Secure Bundle. Okay. This one is very important. this is what will ensure the connectivity between you and the Astra platform. So, you know, pay attention during this very moment just to know how to download this cloud secure bundle, because sometimes we do have some people missing one step. Okay, so it told me to go to connect. Okay, this is what we did already. And now, instead of going to SQL console, which I were, go to connect. So this is Astra, and I'm going to connect. Okay, so far so good. So here, to connect to Astra, I will show you a slide, multiple ways. You can use the drivers, Node, Python, Java. This is what we will do today. Or you can use the API, GraphQL API, REST API, and even document API. This is a nice features bring in Astra. You can use Cassandra as a document database. You will create collection and insert schemaless document. This is a layer on top of Cassandra available on Astra. So if you are a front-end developer, that's pretty cool. You know, that's exactly how you would work with database. Other database you might already know. You will simply interact with the document API, download the SDK, and now you're good to go. You can save a document, retrieve a document. But for today, we will use the drivers. And so Node.js, Python, Java, C#, I will pick Node.js, okay? And he asked me to download the Cloud Secure Bundle. So I will click on the button, Download Cloud Secure Bundle. And instead of clicking on the link, because it will download the zip on my machine, I don't want to do that. I want the zip to be in Gitpod, because I work in Gitpod. So what I will do, I will right-click, and I will copy the link address. Just that, okay? Then I will move to Gitpod with the link address in my clipboard. Can I make that bigger, maybe? Okay, I will clear. See, in Gitpod, you do have a terminal already. It's a real Linux terminal with all the commands. So to download the zip, I will use the command curl. So I will do curl -L, capital L, and I will use double quote. Don't forget the quote. I will paste the link. Again, double quote. So this is how to download. And I will redirect the output to a file. And just to be sure to have the proper file, I will copy paste the, no, I'm still in Gitpod, so let's use, I will copy paste the name of the file. So, okay, this is what I did. I downloaded the Cloud Secure Bundle. Okay, I copy the link, and this is, it's not very visible on my screen. This is the name of the file.
By the way, you got a little suggestion from Discord. Just let me find it. You can change the color to light theme, Control-K, Control-T, Cedric.
Control-K.
Control-T.
Okay, Control-K. Oh, no, but you know, I can also do File, Settings, Color Theme, and I can do light.
Okay.
But for some reason, I do Control-K, Control-T, and this was not working. Okay, if you like this one better, tell us. And also for further workshop, we will use the white if you prefer. So good suggestion on Discord. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Mikey.
So now if I go to CRUD Node.js, so cd CRUD Node.js, because I decided to use a node, okay, ls.l, where is my creds.zip? Here it is, and it's about 12K. So later, if you do have issues telling you connection object is not existing, or cannot connect because wrong password, wrong username, and everything, check that the creds.zip first is a good size, because this link we use on Astra has a timeout about 5 minutes. So if you reach the timeout, simply refresh the page and download the secure bundle. But now it should be okay. So if you also got the issues cannot connect, you would have to check your username and password. All right. Okay, so far so good. People are keeping up with my speed. Do you have any, warning? And please slow down in the chat right now.
Nope. Looks like we are good.
All right, super cool.
The team today is pretty quick.
Yes. You rocks, guy.
Yeah.
Congrats. So we want the Cassandra driver. So npm install Cassandra drivers. And if you are working with Python, you will use pip install Cassandra drivers. But just dark secret, because between you and I, because you fast, at the root of the repo there is a github.yaml which tells Gitpod what to do when the workspace initializing. And I told this guy to already do npm install just for the command to be super quick. And boom, look at that, it's there. All right, I did npm install. Now set up the connection with Astra. So I will open dbconnection.js. So this is the first file on the left part. Okay, so I will import the Cassandra drivers, and I will import an object timeuUID inside this library. And I will edit the values to reflect the value I enter when I created the database. But you know what? I followed the README, so I won't edit anything. I should be okay, because the command has put me creds.zip exactly where it should be. See? This is exactly where I am on the terminal. Username, password, I copy paste from the instruction. So I would be good to know, good to go. So from this constant, we will use init connection and use the Cassandra client to connect to Cassandra. And now with this connection object, we can work variable. We can work in exercise 2, 3, 4, 5 ticks. And I don't think we will go. Oh, see, I think we 10 total. So let's move on. Let's keep on. But you will see it's pretty easy, and it's really step-by-step instruction. So I did that. Actually, I did nothing because it was supposed to be okay. And so I can now execute exercise number 2 with node exercise number 2. Okay, look at my output. Success, you are not connected to Astra. Super cool. Maybe you want to look at the code. I mean, I think this is what I would like. So now if I go to exercise 2, look at that. We are using connection.client to execute a Cassandra query language statement. And this statement is simply look in a system table and just see if you are good to go. And so if you can execute any query against Cassandra, that means you are connected, and I will simply log success. So now, important thing, especially, don't want to give you spoiler about question, but maybe this one is the moment to pay attention. Inside a Cassandra application, as we are creating, we need only one connection. It's a singleton. Why? Because connection is a stateful object. Under the hood, the connection creates multiple TCP connection to Cassandra, because this is the client that is clever enough to send the request to the proper node based on the keys you provided. And so the driver should always have some connection open to the nodes just to see if the node is not available, so else check. It will load balance the query to another node having the same data. Remember, every data on Cassandra is replicated. You can lose any of the node. And the reason is because also the client do the load balance for you in a transparent manner, under the hood, out of the box. All right, that was exercise number 2. So now If you go faster than me, you can keep up with the exercise. If you lag behind, you can go back. And if you are at the same pace like me, perfect. Simply do like me, copy pasting. So now exercise number 3, now we want to create a new journey. So if you look at the code, exercise number 3, so now what is important is we will insert a record into a spacecraft catalog. So look at that. This is what it looks like. And for the time UUID, we just do like that, kind of static, but we will create a crew endeavor SpaceX. Okay, so this is a partition key, and this is just a journey ID. We provide you a static one just to be able to retrieve this guy later using the same ID, but you can also create a totally random UID. Okay, moving on. So now we are using connection.client to execute this statement. So let's, again, I'm stupid and I'm copy pasting from here.
Not stupid, efficient.
Oh, yes, that's a good one. Okay, journey created. Okay, so it seems like this UID has been created. Oh, how do we know it has really been created? You don't have to do that, but I go to Astra, right? I go to my database, right? I go to SQL console. Oh, now you know, oh, it's timeout, so I will reload my SQL console. That's a pretty good security features, right? You don't want to let that open, and I will use spacecraft, which is the name of the key space we have, and I will look at my table. So let's see which name we used for the table. So I go to exercise 3, spacecraft journey catalog, and see, oh, great, now I do have an entry in my database. Woohoo! Congratulations. So this is the Crew Dragon SpaceX, and we will do the first, the first journey. This is the ID. Bring astronaut to ESS. We know it worked, right? Okay, moving on. Okay, I'm in the README. I don't want to lose you. Okay. To speed up your queries against Cassandra, you can prepare the statement before. Okay. In Cassandra, there is no real query plan. The intelligence inside the database that will analyze the request and execute the best way to have the better performance. In Cassandra, it's stupid. Give me a request. I do have a key. I hash the key. I contact the proper node. That's it. Because there is no joins, no computation. So it's quite simple, straight to the point. Still, you can improve your performance request if you prepare them. Prepare them is simply an operation to Cassandra to say, okay, look at the statement. Is it a valid SQL syntax? Does the table exist? Does the column exist? And if everything is okay, at Cassandra's side, we will store an ID, which is a kind of compiled request. And so now, instead of, when we execute the query, instead of pushing the full SQL statement to Cassandra, we simply push the parameter. And so less data on the network and no pre-validation of the query, so you can improve performance of your query. So let's see. Exercise number 4, takeoff. So again, this is, we are reusing the same ID. So what we do here is we update. So look at that. As of now, the journey is not active. Active is false, and we have not started the journey. What we want to do in exercise 4 is taking off. So what we want to do is to update active to true and put the start date as right now. Okay, this is what we mean when we take off. And so if you look at the request, update, set active to true, set start equals a parameter, and spacecraft parameter and journey parameter. We need to provide the spacecraft name, the journey ID, and for the date, we will use now, that.now. So look at that. Connection.client.execute, prepared statement update. Okay, as of now, it's just okay, I just mismatch. No, my bad. Okay, and you use the statement. That now you provide the parameter, and you said prepared true. So I'm reading JavaScript code, but it's pretty close in Python. Okay, it's really close. So if I go to CRUD, and so takeoff in Python. So here you do have the same 3 line. This is a prepare update. I will prepare the query, and then I will execute the query once it has been prepared. Okay, and here it's all in a single instruction. So prepare statements are there to speed up your queries. Okay, prepare once, execute multiple times. All right, so let's see if I can make my spacecraft taking off. 9, 8, ignition. That's funny. Journey has now taken off. Pretty cool. So if I go to Astra and execute the same query, okay, now my active is set to true, and I do have my date. Okay, and see, it's UTC, I guess. All right. Okay. Exercise 4, good to go. Okay, and you know what I'm doing is going over the exercise, explaining with the code, and after that we can go back to slides, and I could simply go through the different sample, provide much explanation. But you know, today is all about hands-on, priority to hands-on. So next, I showed you before in the table number 3 that we add something called UDT. Those are pretty cool. User defined type. This is your own object. You define an object, and you will design the column as this object. So for user, you can have object address, or object, telephones with multiple mobile phone, office telephones, or you can have a full structures with nested values inside a UDT. You can have another UDT, and so forth and so on. And so you could probably store like JSON-oriented data structures, but Cassandra is not the best to work with structures only with SQL, and the reason is you do have a schema. It's not at all schemaless. So it's not as flexible as fully document-oriented database. But with Astra, you do have the document API, and with the document API now you do have schemaless. But never mind. Okay. So what we will do, using UDT and batches. So UDT, this is a UDT we have, and batches. Okay, now it's important to understand. I keep telling you that if you need the same data to be read multiple times with multiple queries, you will insert the same data in multiple tables. But at the same time, I told you there is no foreign key. So the question is, how can you ensure consistency between tables? And the reason is with batches. Okay, batches is not used for bulk loading. Okay, again, it's not SQL. Batch are not for loading. Batch are there to insert multiple data in multiple tables at the same time. So here the sample is reading the metrics. I do have speed, temperatures, pressure, location. with all the same timestamp, because I just pick the measure at the same times with the same timestamp. And so here I will insert speed, temperature, pressure, and location in 4 different tables, providing the same spacecraft name, journey ID, and reading time. And of course, some extra, which is actually the values. But be careful. And this is why I'm slowing down. Batch, again, is not like relational. Remember, in Cassandra, no transaction. So that means you execute query 1, query 2, query 3 fail. There is no rollback. So how does it work? The batch will retry every single, the queries if the query fail. Okay, there are no order in the query. The batch will try to execute all the queries at the same time as possible. So there is no logic of ordering the query over here. And if one fail, he will keep retrying. And remember, with Cassandra, the data is replicated on multiple nodes. So what could cause an insert to fail? No more space on a node? That's unlikely to happen, because you do have gigabytes and gigabytes of data, and you monitor your disk. One node is down. Okay, not a big deal. The query will be retried, and the client will use another node. And so after a long timeout, if after keeping retrying the query, this query fail, the whole batch is considered failed, but you don't know by default which are the query that success or fail. So you might say, oh, that's crazy, that's crazy. I'm a teacher about Cassandra stuff for a couple of years now. And of course, my goal was to show you what happened when a batch failed. In 2 years, I was not able to create a sample code where a batch failed, because this guy keep retrying. If you close the door, he will try by the window. And so that's very, very unlikely to happen. But I need to explain you exactly what is a batch and how it works, just for you to understand. So what I told you is simply it's not atomic. It's as atomic as possible, meaning I will insert everything at the same time, keep retrying queries, but if one fail, the whole batch fail, there is no rollback. So atomicity, this is a definition. In my definition is we roll back everything, but at the same time, this is really the best you can do to ensure consistency.
Cedric, I wanted to clarify here one thing. People use it to have atomicity, and people use it to love atomicity. And there is a point I want to clarify here heavily. As long as you have, 50 gigabytes of data running on a single server, there is no problem to have ACID. Atomicity, consistency, and so on. Like you may afford ACID operations. But as soon as you have hundreds gigabytes or terabytes or petabytes of data spread over hundreds and thousands of servers, any attempt to run an atomic operation will be blocking. And what does that mean? One single unlucky operation matching with some network latency and your database is paralyzed. Cassandra is designed to work with big data very, very quickly, guaranteeing some performance. And that's great what you can have milliseconds answer on your 10 petabytes data set, but that also brings a problem what you have to pay something for that. And I don't mean money, but I mean some features in this case. Atomic transactions and any kind of a commit rollback transactions are not allowed in Cassandra for a simple reason. They cannot be quick on the distributed database. That's the price to pay.
Exactly. And inside a batch, you don't want to put hundreds and hundreds of statements. Those are not for bug logging. Rule of thumb is no more than 100 statements inside a batch. Okay, so now you know what is a UDT and you know what is batch. So let's make our spacecraft travel. So if you look at exercise number 5, what we will do is we will insert a matrix over time. I think it is randomly generated from the speed with quite a clever computation. You want to go 5 km per hour and then 1000 km per hour and the next second 2000 km per hour. So it's a slow acceleration. So here is my journey ID, spacecraft name, the query I want to execute. And so for 1, 2, how many metrics you want? You can simply put, you can put as many as you want if you have time to watch that and space. You have 5 GB, but we put 1000 and it's more than enough. So look at that. This is our super heavy computation way to generate values. And look at that, you are traveling on a straight line in space. See, you always increase by the same value in all directions. So that's a perfect straight line on space. And then you are using a batch and insert all the query at the batch. And so look at that, traveling. So in the loop, I put some traveling if I think, yeah, okay, traveling. So let's see. And when it's done, really save your journey. So let's see. Exercise number 5. I will execute exercise number 5. Traveling. 1000. Oh, it will take forever. Come on. Anyway, in the meantime, I can go to use spacecraft, okay, and select a star from which table are we writing? Oh, it's finished already. Yeah, query. Okay, no, I need to look at the code. Which is the table name? Table name. Iki. Okay, let's look at the speed. Okay. So select star is not a good idea on production because you will interact with all the nodes having the value and it would be slow. Now this is a dev env, we do have a single node, we are good to go. Okay, and so this is, look at that, I do have more. All the queries in Cassandra are paged and we will use paging in the next exercise. But look at that, here is all the name, time UUID, date, values, and what is K? Oh, K is a unit. So instead of select star from the table, you want to provide in the where clause.
Sorry.
Hello. I'm already arrived at Russia. I'm traveling with my spacecraft. All right. Okay, let's move. No, let's moving on. Okay, clear. I have traveled and I do have values. Select star is not a good idea, but in the speed table, what I do have is my primary key and my partition key, which is spacecraft name. So I should be able to do where spacecraft name equals Crew Dragon SpaceX power, because I put that as my partition key. Did I? What is the schema? That's me. Speed over time. What is the partition key here? Looking speed over time. Oh, spacecraft and journey ID. So to have my full partition key, I need to add the journey ID, of course, as well. So and journey ID equals, and now I need my journey ID, which is this guy. and I'm good to go. And this is much, much better than select star. Okay, moving on. Keep doing code, right? It was exercise number 5. So okay, traveling. Okay. We have traveled for a couple of miles. Now it's time to land. And to land, we will reuse the same logic as exercise number 4. We want to take off. So we will update the table just to see, to provide active, to move active to false, and to provide an end date. So if I open landing, update, and now I provide active to false, spacecraft name, journey ID as parameter. It's a prepare statement. And now just to say, I want to stop that now. So if I execute that, okay, journey has now landed, and I can go back to my single line table. So now I know there is a single line, so I won't provide a where clause, but that's not a good practice. Also, select star, it's not what you want to do. You want to provide the list of the column you want to retrieve. It's not harmful. The trap you can have is a table with a lot of column. So if you had 50 columns in one go, that's a lot of data you retrieve in one go. So instead, you should, in the select, provide the field you need. Okay, like select, maybe I simply want the status. Okay, now I know the status is false. That means we have updated the line. So nowhere clause is very, very bad, because you do a full scan, you interact all the nodes to get your value. Select star is not the best, because if you have a table with a lot of columns and for some reason you add some columns afterward, you can have some side effect. Okay, all right. So traveling is done. So now let's list the journey. Exactly what I'm doing here with my SQL console. Let's do the same with code, because we created, we updated. Now let's read. Exercise number 6, 7. So select all record from a table. I'm opening the code. And so select star from where spacecraft name equals. Because in this table, the spacecraft is the partition key. I don't need any journey ID on this table. Okay, so let's see if I can reproduce the same as I do have on the SQL console. Okay, so here I do have the journey UID, the summary, and it seems to be successful. Okay, and this was exercise number 7, when I simply select everything from this table. So look at that. I execute the select, and what I did for each row, I will just show in the console row.journeyid.toString and row.summary, which are two columns inside the table. But I could also totally console.row the full row, and you will see that it's just a JSON object. Okay, the row is a JSON, and there are multiple things you can have. Okay. Spacecraft name, journey ID, active, and start, and the time UID is an object. See, it's a JSON object. Okay, easy peasy. Okay, moving on. It was listing the journey. What we want also to do now is select by partition. Exactly for the reason I told you. You want to provide the partition. So if I go to exercise number 8, now I want to read only one row, providing spacecraft name and journey ID. Because now spacecraft name was maybe the partition, so you can have multiple journeys for the same spacecraft. If we provide both spacecraft name and journey ID, you do have a single record. Okay, what I should have done maybe, can I create a new journey just to see? I will go there. Oops. And I will execute back this guy inside journey. So let's see. 3. Okay, I do have a new journey in my database. So, okay, now I do 2 journeys, right? Okay, with same value, but 2 journeys because I do not provide any where clause. If I provide only the partition key as where clause, which is what I advised you to do, still 2 rows. Okay. And now if on top of this spacecraft name, I add the journey ID, I will have a single row. This is what I want, this guy. Okay, so let's do that with the code then. It is exercise number 8. And so node exercise. You know, I like to live dangerous now. You know, no more copy paste, all in the console, everything. And so not only I do have my single record, exercise number 8, but I have logged all the values from this row. All right, moving on. It was the journey. Now, what about the metrics? Oh, let's close a couple of GS files. That's too much now. Okay. Here we go. All right. Now, exercise number 9, we want to parse the records. So let's look at that. Now we want to select from speed over time with spacecraft name and journey ID. This is exactly what I did a couple of minutes ago, just to have all the metrics for one journey. Do I still have that in my... Okay, journey catalog, journey catalog, journey catalog, journey catalog, speed over time. Okay, this is exactly what we need. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, every queries in Cassandra is paged. Okay, even if you don't want to. The default fetch size is 5,000 records. And what happens if there are more than 5,000 records in the query result? Well, you will start reading the values with the cursor or you know, going over the collection of records. And when you reach the last item of the page, the driver will fetch next page for you. Okay, but if you want to use paging on the UI, we will see that in a minute, how you can store kind of a state to ask for page number 2 explicitly. All right, and this is why when I execute that, I get more. This is kind of a paging inside this SQL console. Maybe they have defined some expected page size, which is much smaller than 5K record, just to be fast. And so you just say more to fetch to page number 3, 4, and 5. So exercise number 9. So let's node execute exercise number 9. So see, even if you're not familiar with JavaScript or Python or beginner, you can see that it's not that difficult to understand, right? No tricky exercise, but simply you to understand how to create, read, update, delete a table. Okay, so now I'm using the client to execute the select, providing the parameters, okay? And for each result, I will simply log, and I also loop over an offset, maybe just to show you the offset here, just to see we do have 1,000 record from 0 to 999. Okay, success. So exercise 9 is a success, and last but not least is paging. So let's go to paging. And now I already told you every single request on Cassandra is paged. But when you execute a query, you can add some option on your statement. And on the JS part, you say that prepare true. We already saw how to prepare statement, but you can also provide fetch size. Now in my speed table, I want page for 5 record only. And I don't want you to retrieve all the page right now, because maybe I do have a UI with only 5 lines to show on the UI, and I need to go fetch the next page only if a user click enter to see more. So to do so we execute the query with those parameters. Okay, so far so good. In the result, there is an attribute named page state. Page state is a long string, a long character string, and your job is to store that string in your application state. Okay, session on the Java, as a props, or any state management system on the React or JS part, and on Python as well. You store that in memory somewhere to be reused afterward. So this is page 1. And page 2 is exactly the same query, exactly the same option, but now I'm adding page state. Okay, and the result 2 should be simply page 2. Okay, so the trick is input provide the fetch size, output use the page state to move from one page to another. And so I should be able to execute exercise number 10. See, 2 pages. So it's not a lot of doing and coding, but here you do have the full working code for JS and Python, and we could give you the link for Java if you want to, but not on the scope for today. All right, so I would rather going through the code and do step by step instead of doing a lot of slide, but at a point of time and before our game to win some swag, let's go back and review what we did quickly. And it will also be the occasion to see also the code in Python. Okay, so DataStax driver, we saw that, is used to handle connectivity, exercise 1, 2, create schema, then query, execute, read, update, delete, and also create tables, create schema. You can also do that as a query, and paging. And of course, parsing result using lazy load, paging, as I told you. And you can also work with object mapping. So you create a table and an object which is the same as the table, and you ask the driver to not only retrieve you a row, but really the object. Like in the Spring world, you would do that with Hibernate in relational, Spring data with not relational. So of course, we do have Spring data Cassandra, and even Spring data Cassandra reactive. And inside the DataStax driver, we have our own mapping, so object mapping. It's not called ORM, object relational mapping. It's called OM, object mapping. There is no relation in there. Remember, no joints, no relation. But you do have everything you need, and in the same GitHub account /DataStax Academy, you find multiple sample codes and microservice to work with Spring Boot, to work with Flask, to work with Django, to work with Express. So there is a lot of sample code over here for you to moving from these create, read, update basic operation to a full microservice. Okay, so install the driver, remember, npm install, we did that. Connectivity to Astra, which is close to connectivity to Cassandra, we simply have to add the cloud secure bundle, which is to open a two-way secure connection with you and the cloud. If you are not working with the cloud, instead of cloud, you would provide the IP of the nodes you want to contact, and those IP are called contact points. Okay, easy peasy. And you provide username and password. This is a Node way, this is a Python way. You will realize that those are pretty close. Okay, I told you about the session. It is a stateful object with multiple TCP connections under the hood. Use it properly as a singleton, and when the application closing, you should also close the solution, close the session. And this is why you do have shutdown method invoked each time in our sample as well, just to properly close the TCP connection against the database you access. Okay, exercise number 2 was all about getting the cloud secure bundle. Instead of a slide and switching from slide to exercise, I really take my time with the exercise. Create and update record. So select star from the table where common egal. Okay, this is really the simple statement. We have provided the parameter as extra parameter in the execute. So we are using integration mark exactly, or %s, exactly as you would do with SQL. You externalize the parameter. And why do you do that instead of concatenate and create your statement? The reason is you want to prevent SQL or SQL injection. Instead of your parameter, someone create a weird SQL clause, and when it's concatenated for an existing one, now the guy has access to all the table in your schema, and you screwed. If you externalize the parameter like that, the parameter themselves will be evaluated even before putting in the clause, and then you are safer. And it is also the way to do prepare statements. So that should be your way to go. Speaking of prepare statements are there to speed up queries. Prepare once, execute many times. Prepare meaning check that table name, column name are okay, and the syntax of the query is okay. It's kind of a compiled query available at the server side. And when you execute now a query, you only provide the parameter, and the clients will change the long SQL statement by just the ID of the compiled query for you. You don't have to worry about that. But look at how close Node.js and Python are. Okay. 3 and 4, it's all about batches. So, okay, again, remembers, and also that gives you time to close the exercise if you were late a bit. So batch are there to insert multiple queries at the same time to ensure as better consistency as possible. Those are not used for bug loading. Inside a batch, you shouldn't have more than 100 statements. And the behavior is really, the batch will trigger each query in parallel, and if one fails, it will keep retrying until a long timeout, and if you reach a timeout, the batch fails. But again, retrying a query for Cassandra means changing also the node, and it's very likely that you manage to achieve the query. But if not, if for some reason the batch is failing, now you know that you may have query okay, query not okay, and that would be your job as an application developer to maybe re-execute the batch. You can have a try catch at your side, and if the batch fails, you yourself try to retry, and if not, start sending a message to user that's okay, we were not able to insert what you want. All right, UDT that's a Python special. So you could create some UDT. UDT in Node.js was, remember, var, location, ABC. So the var, it's pretty powerful in Node. Now in Python, you can create the class, definite, and see this is the attribute in the constructor. And now you do have a dedicated class that works as a utility for you. Okay, pretty cool. Remember object mapping? So you do have object mapping from table to object, but also from utility to object. And that means an object can contain sub-object, nested object, and so forth and so on. But it's not recommended to use nested structures with Cassandra. It's much, much better to flatten everything. A lot of column work very well with Cassandra. If a column is empty, the column is simply not there on disk. There is no null value that will use some space on disk. This is also the reason why it's very, very easy to add a new column in a Cassandra table. There is no need to insert null to all the existing rows. Okay, that was 5 and 6. I think much more easy to go that way instead of go back to slide, go back and reading all the code. Are we all good? How do we do with the chat? Now we do have 20 minutes to play the game and closing and everything.
Everything is fine.
Okay, so everybody, now is the big time. Brave yourself, time to play. So go back to the screen we left, menti.com, and if you join between the session, go to menti.com and use this code. And so this is where you should go. This is the code on screen. You can use your phone. I provide you the QR code. So it will be 5 questions. So questions are all about what we cover today. Housekeeping, there is a delay for about 1 second between me speaking on YouTube and what's happening on your phone or menti.com. So if you want to be as fast as possible, really look at Menti screen and simply listen what I say, but be as fast as possible, look at your phone. Okay, so I will move to the question screen. Quiz time, 5 questions. Okay. And now I will wait for player. I will wait for you, folks.
We have pretty a lot of people today, so competition is going to be rough. We have already more than 52 people connected and almost 100 on YouTube chat. So let's give like 15 more seconds.
Yeah, let's wait. And you know what? Today we realize that we keep doing the same quiz on Wednesday and Thursday, and some people could have watched the episode on Wednesday and all know the answer. Just is a matter of speed. So today it's not the same question, okay? Or at least those have been mixed match. So not the same, could be close, but we mix the question and we mix the answer. So at least now you know to know the answer, to understand the question and know the answer, and give a chance to no cheaters.
But don't be greedy. If you win yesterday, don't play today.
Yeah, we should make that a rule.
Yeah.
Let's let a chance for everyone to win some swag. So 57, okay?
Three more. So give me 3 more. 3 more. You can do it. You can do it. I know we have almost 100 on YouTube.
Oh. Okay. 1 more.
Yeah, almost.
It's like when you download something, 99%. Oh, 58. Now we are going there. Okay. I don't know. Okay, 61. Okay, we're good.
Let's start.
And that's pretty cool because now, yes, we gave enough time for everybody to have a chance to win some swag. So 3 first position win some swag. Okay, let me start the countdown. Answer fast to get more points. What do you recommend? What do you need when connecting to Astra? Contact points, SSL certificate, secure connect bundle, and shake with sanitizer. Very appropriate for the.
Yeah.
for the period. Okay, so most of you made it right. This is a big zip we downloaded in the beginning, Secure Cloud Connect bundle. Contact points are when you connecting to plain old Cassandra, not Astra. Okay, so what about you? Who was the fastest? Yeah, empty, pretty fast.
975 points, good result.
Yes. Question number 2, enter. How many session objects should you use in your app? 1 per application, as many as needed. 1 per connected client, 1 per operation. 1 per operation, yeah. And you know what? Going through all the exercise and doing some reminders through the slide afterward, it's cool because now you do have all the answer in mind. 1 per application, very good result. Very good result. So we made our job right. Right, Alex?
Yep.
Okay, so question number 3. No, why I say question number 3? Who was the fastest?
Yeah, what's the leaderboard?
Yeah, and you know what I appreciate? I appreciate that, yes, people, need 300 milliseconds to answer, so that's enough time to read the question. Okay, Mujahid was the fastest this time, but Nivesh Pai leading. Question number 3. Why should you use prepare statement? To ensure they are ready for the set stage, because prepare statements are required to speed up queries to properly cook them for guests. Boom, exactly, to speed up queries. Okay, good job.
And the leaderboard.
Yes, are the questions too easy? So next week, dead hard questions for you. And it will be up deep dive Kubernetes. Okay, Mushahid, okay, good job. Now you're leading, and Rohit Raj was the fastest for this question. 2 more questions to go.
Competition is very tough, only 1 point difference between first and second place.
Yeah, that's crazy.
1 point is nothing.
Yes. 1 point is like 100th of a second. How do you define a proper Cassandra data model? With both application workflow and queries, create entities and association table, create entities and index. What is a data model already?
Well, in this workshop, we definitely didn't have enough time to tell enough about the data model, but we have a dedicated workshop about Cassandra data model.
Yes, and also advanced data model. So we do have two workshops on data model. So yeah, go for it. So again, good job. Most of you made it right. That's funny. Okay. Mujahid was not fast enough. Yes, we switched. So good job on Rohit Raj. Oh la la, that's so close. So the 3 fastest get some swag. So, all 10 first people do have more than enough. The gap is so small that you can totally be in the top 3. Okay, focus. Last question.
Last question, and everyone in the top 10 at least definitely have a chance.
Yes, but only the 3 first win some swag. Batches in Cassandra are good for bulk loading of data, sizing multiple denormalized table. Nothing at all. Make cookies.
Never tried batches to bake cookies. Maybe I should.
Oh yeah, so the trap was really not for bug loading. So I mean I keep saying that during the workshop as a broken record, but yeah, do not consider batches as SQL. Those are real just to sync multiple dynamics table. But hey, this is also a trap. This is why I put bulk loading as a first choice. You know, for everybody to click on the first choice. Okay, so let's see the final results.
We have more workshops coming in, so don't be sad if you've lost. We have something for you anyway, but take a look. All the leaders answered correctly.
Okay, so yeah, it is the same 3 winners. So congratulate. And so for the 3 winners, send an email to jack.fryer@datastacks.com. Jack will put his email in the YouTube chat, or Alex would do. But hey, so congratulations.
Yep.
It's not that easy. Hope you enjoy this interactive experience with you and us. So, as I told you now, the workshop not ending with just that. We do have homework for you if we want to. So, what do we have for you? Yes, moving back to slides. So, learn. So, 2 ways to learn. First, we do have full long courses, MOOC, so massive online courses for free, and the platform is academy.datastacks.com. This is the most well-known. But we also have some hands-on learning. Now you are learning, like today, doing exercise, and you don't have to install anything. It's simply going through the step and understanding what you are doing. And with the platform is even better because it's called Katacoda. You don't even have to copy paste. You can click on the README, and on the right part, the command has been put for you. Okay, so the exercise for this week will be based on Katacoda, and those are on DataStax/dev. You ask question during the workshop on YouTube chat or Discord, but you may have some question during the week about the homework or maybe later. So community.datastacks.com is like Stack Overflow for Cassandra. This is an overall DataStax product. This is how I like to say this. We put all the homework instructions in this community.datastacks.com blog post. So you could see the link in the description of the video. I think it's the first link. And that's also a way for you to jump into community.datastacks.com. Connect with us. So I hope you enjoyed the experience for newcomers. So you can connect with us on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn. We provide our contact in the description, very, very below the description. If you like, consider to subscribe. That will make us grow the YouTube channel, or put a like or a comment to know what we should improve, or if I need to slow down, and as usual, all the materials are on GitHub, including the slide. So what about the homeworks? So don't need to take a picture here. Remember, you do have the slide, and those are also on the homework link. So go back to Cassandra query language. So there is a first exercise, how to create, read, update, delete. And this is a review of what we just did, but new tables, new business context, and maybe new type for you to learn a bit more. Quick start of drivers. So Python, Node, and Java. Pick the one you like. If you're a Python and want a bit further, as a bonus, we do have a Katacoda scenario. Build a REST service with Python. And I think they use Django for this one. And also Cassandra data modeling. So inside this one, it's a bit longer. There are multiple sub-scenario, I think. And it's a bit more about data modeling and why you should not think like relational. And to prepare for next week, because next week it will be Cassandra and in Kubernetes and your app in Kubernetes. So this is a lot of info. So container, Kubernetes, cloud native. Here I gave you 2 links to read. It's not courses or anything. It's simply a blog post explaining you what we consider cloud native, what is Kubernetes, and you will be able to do the exercise with us next week as well. Certification. Okay, that's the big deal. Okay, because you attended. Okay, to get, let's rewind. At DataStax, we do have, for now, 2 certifications. Developer certification, how to develop on top of Cassandra. Admin certification, so how to manage a Cassandra cluster. To pass the exam, it's about $145 each. Okay. In March, we will release a 3rd certification, which is Kubernetes and Cassandra, which is not available now. But if you want to be ready and get notified when it will be available, go to datastax/dev/certification and enter sign up now to give your email and get the notification when it's ready. All right. Now, about the voucher, because if you attended those 3 sessions of this series, this week and the next 2 weeks, and we check attendance with email you use for Eventbrite, email you use for Astra. Did you really created the Astra instance? Did you use the same key spacecraft we provided you? It's pretty easy for us to track who was there or not, as long as you did the exercise. So if you really attend the workshop, do the exercise with us, at the end of 3 weeks, we will give you a free voucher, valid 3 months, allowing you to attempt of any of the certification. So we keep saying it's $145 for free, but to be honest, because it's 2 attempts, it's really almost $300 for you to try. And so 2 attempts. If you try developer certification and you succeed on the first try, you still have your 2nd attempt now to try administrator certification. This is how it works. And on this channel, there are some workshops which are dry run for certification when we explain everything. And to be honest, we will do one of those next week on Tuesday, just for you to see what it looks like. So we keep doing the week 2 Cloud Native series Wednesday, Thursday, as this week. But on top of it, we do have a 3rd session on Tuesday evening, just to, dry run the certification.
I do recommend to attend this one. At the next Tuesday, you may not be ready for the exam. It's perfectly fine. It's just workshop, you answering questions. It's not the real examination, but the preparation. And questions are not exactly the same, but very, very close to those you will meet at the certification. With the DataStax developers, you can get the education for one of the most powerful databases completely for free, and then pass the certification and get your certificate completely for free again. I love my job.
And look on LinkedIn, we are so proud to see so many people certified by this way. And it's pretty cool to work together. And we finish on time. That's it for today. Thank you very much for your audience. I hope you enjoyed the experience. Leave a comment, thumb up, subscribe to the YouTube channel for us to improve. And until that, at your homework, and ask question on community.datastax.com if you want to. All right. And Alex, thank you very much. You were the master today, answering all the questions and handling and hosting all the stream.
Big thanks to you for explaining all those things, and many thanks to Erick Ramirez and Jack Fryer for joining us and answering questions in the YouTube chat and Discord. It's a big pleasure to meet you all, and see you next week. Mostly probably see you next Tuesday.
Sure. See you. Bye.
Bye.
change.